This is a UV vis spectrophotometer, sometimes called a Spect 20. So what I'm going to show you is this is the instrument, this is the digital display, and the buttons that we are going to push for different reasons. Then we have the knob on the instrument that can adjust the wavelength of light in nanometers. So these are all going to be in nanometers. And then we have what we call the sample compartment. This is where we're going to put our samples into so we could read it on the spectrophotometer. So we are going to use something called a cuvette. It looks like a test tube, but it's a specialized cuvette. And we're going to place it into the sample compartment and close the lid so that no other light gets in there. So that is all you are doing with putting a sample into a spectrophotometer, just putting it into the sample compartment and then reading the screen. So we are going to blank our spectrophotometer. So we are going to put into the sample compartment a cuvette filled with distilled water. Once we have our nanometers set and we place the cuvette into the compartment, we're going to hit a button where it says 0 absorbance, 100% transmittance. And what the screen is going to say is BLA, which means blanking, and it's going to blink a couple times, and then it's going to read 100% transmittance. That means all of the light is going through the sample. If I change it to absorbance, you will see absorbance should be reading 0. Okay, so transmittance means 100% of the light is going through that sample. So we have essentially zeroed out this instrument and we can now read our samples. So we're now going to read our samples on the Spec 20. So for the Kool Aid lab, we're going to be looking at 6 different colors of Kool Aid. So it's going to be red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple or violet. So for this demonstration, I'm just going to read the orange sample, just so you can see how it works. So the first thing we must do is blank. We're going to put the water cuvette into the sample compartment and hit our button to say 100% transmittance. So we are going to wait till it blanks and go to 100% transmittance. So it's going to blink and then go to 100%. And this is at 600 nanometers. That's what I have it set to. So now I'm going to take out that blank cuvette and put in the orange cuvette and take a reading. So all I have to do is write down the 96.6 transmittance on my data table. So if I am going to change my nanometers to 625, I have to blank again. So I have to put in the cuvette with distilled water and then hit the button and get it to 100% transmittance. And then I could take my next readings. Every time you change the nanometer, you need to blank every time. So now I put the orange in there and I get 98.6 for my percent transmittance. So one major source of error is if you did not clean the outside of the cuvette. So we're going to be using something called a chem wipe to clean any kind of oil from our fingertips. So you will see me clean the outside before I put it into the spectrophotometer. I did not have that in the beginning part of the video. So the reason you do that is because if you grab from the bottom of the cuvette and you smear your oils on the outside, it will then reflect off the light. So the reason it's called a chem wipe is because there's a manufacturer called Chemtech, and they don't have any debris on them.